Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this video on G4G. I am Napalm Dawn, or in this particular video, Druidicus, the level 60 Druid tank, the GM of a guild in World of Warcraft. So I think perhaps you probably figured out the tone that is going to get set in this video if I'm mentioning World of Warcraft, and if I'm mentioning World of Warcraft this week and so close after the last WoW video. So let's dive right into it and discuss the big elephant topic in the room. So I'm going to be sharing a lot with you guys on this one. This is going to be a bit of an emotionally charged video. Perhaps the largest set of emotions that I'm dealing with in a video since G4G's mascot Arthas passed away in December of 2020. And you know, I often get a little emotional in the videos about Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux when community members are kind of being shit and you know, bagging away on the dev, like where's the game, where's the patches, where's the updates. And you know, whenever there's shitty community members in there, I get a little upset. This is considerably more personal. So as my lovely wallpaper changes for a little bit before I actually get into showing you guys some things, I will give you a little bit of a background on myself and World of Warcraft. I started WoW back in the beta of WoW. Myself and many of my friends at the time, we were first-person shooter people. We were in a clan dedicated to FPS games. We were Unreal Tournament players. We were UT99, 2K3, 2K4 players. And at the time, FPS players really considered MMOs to be the inferior game type. People who played MMOs were nerds or wimps. And in the early 2000s, middle 2000s, there was a word that would be used that referred to being different from heterosexual, would be the way of putting it. And that's what a lot of FPSers, the more manly of the game types, kind of believed for MMO types. But a group of us wandered around doing a lot of betas around the same time. We did Guild Wars 1 beta, we were doing Diablo 2, we did the World of Warcraft beta, and WoW kind of hooked me. And then when WoW dropped, I got it at Thanksgiving, or around Thanksgiving in 2004. And I started playing some Alliance characters on servers where I knew some of my UT friends were playing. And I misjudged. I didn't really land on the right server. And I eventually wound up playing a Horde Hunter. And because I was the captain of the whole Unreal Tournament series within my clan, a lot of people started following me over the more and more I played on WoW. Like, a lot more friends started picking up the game and playing it with me, and we started off as a chat channel on our server, and then we got our first contract, our first charter signed, and it blew up because if somebody signs your charter but then signs somebody else's charter, it blows both charters up. And then we had to re-get everybody again, and we got it signed, and our charter dates back to January 2005. That's kind of huge at this point in time. That is 16 years ago. And we are the oldest running Horde raiding guild on our server. There may be one other who has an older charter, but they're not actively raiding anymore. So we're not the oldest active Horde guild. We're the oldest active Horde guild that's raiding on our server. So this is kind of a big deal to talk about this topic. I have been through a tremendous amount GMing World of Warcraft since that time. I've gone through the incredible emotional ups and downs of running 40 people and knowing people who really make me laugh and make raids enjoyable through impressions and jokes and things that become in-jokes over the years, to the incredible lows of having a group of people join that were a virus in the guild and corrupted long-term members of the guild and actual people I called friends and turned them against me and the history of my guild. And a lot of them have come back, but that group was literally the lowest form of parasites in pond scum that I had ever met, and it was a testament to myself and a few of my other officers that we stayed true the whole time and resisted them and got them out before they killed us, which they almost did. I've had relationships within the guild, some friends, some girlfriends, and things of that nature. And Warlords of Draenor was one of the worst expansions we had lived through, and we did stop raiding for a while there, thanks to some real-life issues. We rebounded mightily in Legion, and then Battle for Azeroth was a trash expansion, and Shadowlands is okay, but it's not good enough to make up for the last trash expansion. A lot of people have said, and I said this in the last video, World of Warcraft cannot have a Microsoft operating system heartbeat. It cannot have good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. I consider MOP bad, but not a lot of people do. Everybody considers Warlords of Draenor bad, and then Legion was great, and then Biffle was bad, and Shadowlands is eh. It's not great, but it's maybe not bad. And they can't... It shows Blizzard is slipping between that, the Hearthstone incident with Blitzchung, the mild response to apologizing for it at the next available BlizzCon, Diablo Immortal, the way it was handled, even if it is a good game by all rights. Don't you people have phones? Is this an off-season joke? The standing by of things like Pride and Black History Month and proclaiming their virtues, but then still shitting on the China situation that Blitzchung was talking about. The World of Warcraft 3 Reforged debacle, which destroyed their eyes in the community, and you can't go back and play the original Warcraft 3 anymore. You have to play the shit version. Their desire to say, oh, we're going to fix it, and then they never did. It's been 18 months, and Reforged is still trash. So Blizzard is not the company we know and love anymore. And in this particular case, is Activision playing the role of bad guy yet again, or is this actually Blizzard that's doing it? So if you are unaware of what is happening, there is a lawsuit going on that is out in California, and it has been a 29-page Civil Rights and Equal Pay Act lawsuit brought by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. So the CDFF. So I'm going to call it Acetafil from now on. Anytime we reference it, the Acetafil. J. Allen Brack has presided over Blizzard for some time. And while he did a terrible job at the Blitzchung incident, originally it was hoped that he was not part of what was going on here. Spoiler alert, he likely knows. And he's actually, in some ways, partaken in it of himself. So this is a quote-unquote leaked memo. I don't say quote-unquote because we don't know if it's true or not. It is true, but the leak part of this might be fake. So he's saying, I personally have a lot of emotions coming out of yesterday, and I know you do too. The allegations and hurt of current and former employees are extremely troubling. I know many of you would like to receive more clarity. While I can't comment on the specifications of the case since it's open, what I can say is the behavior detailed in the allegations is unacceptable. It goes without saying, a whole bunch of stuff is unacceptable, whether it's on campus or BlizzCon or working from home. Stepping back, when I talked about Bobby, about taking this job, Bobby Morhaime, Cocktech, the weasel face shitfuck. One of the things I mentioned was a Reverend Saint at the Brack household, Gloria Steinem. Growing up, the value of women as equals and understanding the work they do for equal treatment. I disdain bro culture and spent my career fighting against it. We'll see about that. The company is more a legal construct than it exists as a piece of paper in a filing cabinet in Delaware. The leadership team and I will be meeting with many of you to answer questions. In the meantime, I want you to know you can talk to any manager, HR partner, member of the legal team. I feel angry, sad, and a host of other emotions. Corporate stuff, corporate stuff, corporate stuff. There is another letter out there that the torture apologist from the Bush era of presidencies, who now works at Activision Blizzard, has released. And that one is equally hysterical for different reasons. Here, the Washington Post article that came out Thursday says J. Allen Brack may have actually known quite a bit about what was going on, and he's being named in the suit too. The suit, which alleges multiple instances, by the way, this is the Washington Post, the suit, which alleges multiple instances of discrimination, inequality, harassment against women throughout Activision Blizzard's network of companies, focus heavily on the toxicity within Blizzard and the Warcraft development team. In particular, allegations in the suit state that former WoW senior creative director Alex Afrasiabi would routinely harass female employees, especially at the annual convention Blizzcon, trying to get them to come back to his room and everything. The incidents were an open secret, the Acetafil alleges, and the suit claims Brack had multiple conversations with Afrasiabi and cautioned him that the drinking and being too friendly was not good. He continued to make unwanted advances towards women, according to the lawsuit, including groping them, and he was a well-known quest and level designer. Since its launch in 2004, he left the company quietly under cover of night in 2020. Brack and Afrasiabi were not successful at being reached. The Acetafil also claims in the suit that Brack heard the complaints in early 2019 that they were leaving due to the harassment and sexism, and the women on the BattleNet team, the kind of Steam of Blizzard games, or the BattleNet launcher, were subject to disparaging comments. Women who are not huge gamers or into the party scene were treated as outsiders. Activision Blizzard responded Wednesday by describing the lawsuit's claims as distorted and in many cases false. That's going to be a problem. The case is related to misconduct. Action was taken to address the issue. The picture the Acetafil paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today. Over the past several years, since the investigation started, we've made changes. Guys, Riot, the news of how Riot was going is about 2 or 3 years old at this point too. Any company who witnessed what happened to Riot should have pumped the brakes right then and there. I don't care if they were going 200 miles an hour. They should have hit the brakes, and they would have they should have gone, fuck, whoa, alright, this is not good. We need to make sure we are not Riot 2.0 or 3.0 or 8.0. We gotta start from the top down and make sure this doesn't happen to us. Blizzard, who operates in the same sphere as Riot and a lot of things, apparently didn't do that, or maybe they did it too late. The broad sweeping lawsuit from the Acetafil claims women throughout Activision Blizzard Network suffered harassment and endured heavier scrutiny than their male coworkers. They were rewarded with more pay and promotion, pay raises, the men, not the women. Cube crawls, similar to pub crawls, where the males would drink copious amounts of alcohol. I feel like I'm doing like a Discovery Channel thing. The male pursues the female across the African the African grasslands over here. Here's the Hearthstone incident with Blitzchung. We will do better going forward. The 30-second apology that they did. 2018, the video game culture site Kotaku reported on the culture of sexism at Riot. So it is now at about 3 years old. Earlier this month, Ubisoft had the same issue, and they were sued by French Workers Union over institutional harassment. Yeah, this is not good. Now, remember how we said Brack says, I don't like bro culture and I fight against it. Well, this little YouTube moment has surfaced.
I love what you guys
So
done
hold
with
on.
Little Prince. I love the fact that you have a lot of very strong female characters. However, I was
She says, I love, this is very low volume. I love how you have strong female characters, but when can we get females who don't look like they have stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog?
wondering if we could have some that don't look like they've stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog.
Cheers, then into booze. This is 2010.
What do you mean? Wait.
So on the panel, this is Brack way on the left, and this is Afrasiabi way on the right for just a little bit of context here.
Which catalog would you like them to step out of?
Could you
Okay, you see her face there? She was like, ha 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 ha. And she takes the big breath and lets it out as like, this went as well as I expected, and this is why I was extremely nervous about asking that question. That's what that body language was.
did you see Sylvanas looking any other way? Right. So we feel you, and we
Afrasiabi.
vary our female characters absolutely. So yeah, we'll pick different catalogs.
We'll pick different catalogs. Love and see, like, she's done with it.
Alex, what catalog is that torn female coming out of?
Not one you'd read.
Yeah, sexy cow business.
Thank you.
Some sort of agricultural.
Hi, my name is Piper from Calicos, and I was just wondering if you have any plans for female druid forms.
I might have seen a concept yesterday for something like that, but that's a difficult one, like to balance that, to make it work out. I think we want to do it, but at the same time, it's going to be tricky. We'll do what we can. How's that?
Thank you.
So wait a minute. I'd like to note that this BlizzCon, we usually get the question of when are we going to get new druid forms. I notice you're not asking that question.
See, I couldn't really tell there if he said new or nude. I'm sure it's new because I don't want to believe that he said nude over there. Like, middle guy tried. I understand where he's coming from, but yeah, I really hope it's new and not nude.
Come on.
That's a step
New
up.
druid forms.
You could make the Moonkin more curvier with boobs. I'm just saying.
But yeah, it's yeah, so much for I stand against bro culture. And you know, this guy Nels Anderson is like, man, that must have been so intimidating. I've seen other people comment how much their heart breaks for that girl, for that question. It's bad. And it is bad enough to the point that what is happening over in Final Fantasy XIV, here's a Final Fantasy XIV character, angry WoW player. Omega Lol WoW Dead, another Final Fantasy character. Buck Flizzard Big Shaft, another Final Fantasy character. People have begun flocking to Final Fantasy XIV with joke anti-WoW names. There's been sit-ins occurring in WoW. And I can tell you an exodus is starting. This here, I have blocked out the names on my Discord, other than mine, because I'm not about ready to tell this person's story. But this is a person that I have firsthand experience in seeing that they are quitting because of this situation. Now, this is somebody who recently quit raiding in between 9.0 and 9.1, but they were going to maintain an active WoW account and still play. They just couldn't commit to the raiding, because that's what WoW is. WoW is like a 3-stage game. There's the casual play it when you want. There's the casual I log in a lot, but I don't commit to raiding because it's a job. And then there are the raiders, which is like, it's a job. Then there are the supers, the super jobbers, which do it on Mythic. But I just wanted everybody to know, in light of the recent allegations, I've decided to quit WoW and all other Blizzard games. I've personally seen what sexual harassment and abuse becomes when an employer allows it to continue, and I feel awful for these poor women who've been tormented since forever with this. I've played since BC. WoW was my safe place. D2 was my safe place. BlizzCon was a safe place, but I had to let it go. This person has been to at least one BlizzCon. This person has been at the BlizzCon with the Diablo Immortal announcement, and I have asked them directly what that was like to be in that moment, and they said, woo, the whoosh, when everybody just stopped for a second. So this person is a Blizzard fan, like myself. I'm so glad to have met all of you and the many, many other friends I've made over the past 15-ish years. I hope it's okay if I still pop into Discord. I'm happy to share my Facebook and Steam. Stay in touch. I'm going to log in and give you guys my gold before it expires so that you have supplies. And my response is, frankly, I'm not surprised. We had to talk about this last night. We did take some raid time to talk about it. I definitely can't fault you for it. It's highly disappointing to hear that it was an environment as toxic as Riot, and the news is 2 to 3 years old at this point, which lines up with Riot. They should have learned and maybe stood a shot at fixing it, even if the investigations were a few years old too. I want to believe this didn't occur under old Blizzard, in other words, Diablo 1 to about Wrath of the Lich King and World of Warcraft, but there's a good chance it did. If it wasn't for the blood, sweat, and tears and the heavy mental investment running the guild, including the semi-rebuild going on now between 9.0 and 9.1, I would stand in defiance of it too. Admittedly, Blizzard's products from WoW to Overwatch to even Heroes of the Storm are too ingrained in my nightly routine. I'd likely get the shakes if I quit all their products, but I support the people who do. We all know this isn't our Blizz anymore. And they go on to say they hope it wasn't the old Blizz crew too, but it's very possible that it was. I totally understand staying. I thought long and hard about it, and honestly, I'm in a grieving process over it. I had a guild help me through my brother's death. I had a guild be a safe place during an abusive relationship. Napalm, you created a safe place to enjoy the game without judgment. Raiders were helped when they struggled instead of being attacked. I'm going to miss it a lot. I said thank you. GM doesn't always get feedback, but you and her then boyfriend have provided me with plenty over the last few years. It's been appreciated. Perhaps FF14 will be your new home, and we may run into some of us there in the future. So that is a definite person who is quitting over the allegations. These are not mysterious internet people who say they are but aren't. A lot of people are going to be speaking through their wallet, and for me it is a heavy consideration. I cannot speak through my wallet in Overwatch as I've already bought the game and I don't get loot boxes very often. I cannot speak through my wallet in Heroes of the Storm as it's a free-to-play game and I have not spent money on it in a while, as it's not under the most active, it doesn't have the most activity now in development and everything. Diablo 3, again, already paid for it. Overwatch, I play so much because it is my first-person shooter area to go. World of Warcraft is really it. That is where I can send the biggest message by canceling my subscription. And that is huge because it's something I've never done. Even when we've had raid breaks, I've maintained an active subscription the entire time that I've been in WoW, minus 1 month in TBC. I have been so active that at the 10-year anniversary of WoW, Blizzard sent me a statue. Like, I have a large statue on my mantle that Blizzard sent everybody who paid consistently from the day it went live, and that's me. I don't know that I could do it. The girlfriend wants to do it. I've witnessed the character you just saw me talking about do it. I am so emotionally invested in the game and running the guild because I'm not just a standard player. I actively maintain a group. I'm, a manager. I'm an HR person. I'm corporate finance. I have every role within the guild, and when you run a guild, it has a different effect on you than when you are just a player in a guild. You may have your own personal ties to World of Warcraft, but it's a little different when you have carved out your own little stucco household that you've built with mud and bricks and straw and water and the blood, sweat, and tears you do to maintaining people, which sometimes the worst thing about World of Warcraft isn't the game, it's the people and managing them and dealing with them. So it is a long and hard thought, and at this point, because a new tier has dropped, a new raid is out there, the content is not done, it's not fully consumed. Essentially what has happened is I just ordered a brand new expansion to Borderlands 3 yesterday, and now I got it, and now I'm supposed to leave it, and I'm only like 2 levels into it. That's what it feels like. And to draw it another way, it's to the point where I'm 10 feet away from the top of Mount Everest, and I've had to replace my Sherpas, and the company sponsoring me who did my ice picks went out of business, so I had to get a new company. And 10 feet from the top, where I get to plant my flag and say I climbed Mount Interest, I get a phone call that a grandparent passed away. Am I supposed to just stop 10 feet from the top and go down the mountain because of this news? That's the internal debate that I'm going through, and it's so tough to just sit there and see everybody else's flag over there, and I have the flag in my hand. It's just 10 feet away. I've got the oxygen, I've got the ice picks, I've got the guidelines, everybody's up there with me, everybody's alive, it's not really a bad day, it's not a storm. That's what it feels like to think about quitting now, right as new content dropped. But as more and more comes out that perhaps Allen Brack knew and didn't really do enough to fix it, it's bad. I want to stand. Oh yeah, here's Fran Townsend, the torture apologist who worked under George Bush. She sent out her own letter too. This is a really, really tough thing to think, and I have other people at stake, because the thing is, I affect other people if I say I quit. And it's going to be a long, multiple time talk with the girlfriend, and to figure these things out. She's got her moments where she doesn't want to quit either, and she totally understands if I didn't, and I definitely support her in going. If she wants to do it and stand against it, more power to her. And the door, she knows, is already open. For me, it's just a little bit different, and it's going to require some figuring out. I've never played a Riot game, so I was unaffected when all of that happened. I play a lot of Blizzard games. Even Hearthstone from time to time, and it's going to be interesting to think about this going forward. And I know it is the right thing to do, and it's not even posturing, because in this day and age where Final Fantasy XIV has put a major ding on World of Warcraft, and the leads at 14 have said no, we don't want to take people from Blizzard. Like, we like World of Warcraft. We want to coexist with them. We're not like doing that. That was before the allegations. And it's not a game I particularly want to jump into. Like, if I do quit WoW, it's not necessarily, oh, okay, over to Final Fantasy XIV. I have enough things I dislike about 14 at the moment that I would just probably have free time, to be honest, to play other games. If I quit all Blizzard games, including Overwatch, that's going to be rough because I don't know where I would get my first-person shooter fix through. I'm not interested in Valorant. Battleborn doesn't exist anymore. Maybe Paladins. I mean, I could pick Paladins back up again or something. Gigantic is dead. Although there is a rebirth community for that game too. I don't know where I would wind up, but getting rid of all Blizzard games would be the absolute most righteous thing to do. And it's not performative because we're witnessing people do it. There are sit-ins occurring across servers at Norbos right now. And I think, even though they don't track their numbers anymore, we're going to see a large drop in WoW players and sub counts. And this has got to hurt them. This has got to hurt them big right when 9.1 drops. I mean, it's only like 3 weeks old at this point. So, if you guys are WoW players or you're fans of Blizzard games, how are you guys taking the news? And, you know, what do you think about all of this? I will state straight out, unequivocally, I do believe the things that are being spoken about here. One of the things that we need to touch upon is in one of the instances, somebody was sexually harassed so bad that on a business trip they committed suicide because nudes of this woman were shared around the company. I don't know how the nudes came about. I mean, this was not at a time where I think OnlyFans would exist. I don't know if they were shared with an employee who was potentially an interest at one point in time, or who knows, but they were shared around. And that person sought to take their own lives on a business trip. On this channel, we've talked before about how terrible of a human being Zoe Quinn is for causing the death of Alec Holoka after her accusations came out. And there are two people out there in this world, two types. People who are Zoe Quinn fans and will follow her to the death, and people who understand that Zoe Quinn is a terrible human being for what she's done and what she's caused, and Gamergate, and what she's done to RNG, and all of that. And then there's me, who's kind of was very critical of all the information and did it in a non-emotional way and let all the facts speak to me before I began to form an opinion. And the investigations into her Twitter at the time of being with Alec, how they don't jive with her stories. Literally, factually, it's not even like she was hiding abuse or being kept captive with a very valiant public face. Like, they literally contradict her story about what was going on with Alec at the time. If we hold her to task for causing the death of somebody, wouldn't it not be completely just and fair to hold Activision Blizzard accountable for the death of that woman who committed suicide on a business trip? Like that, imagine that desperate feeling of no way out, that you are in a cube that is closing tighter and tighter with no doors, no windows, no grates, no air, nothing. You're being squashed, and you probably think, I can't work in the industry again. This will follow me. Nobody at HR is listening to me. No managers. I can't get anybody to stop this. My life is whatever she thought her life was, and then that was it. So if we hold Zoe accountable for that, should we not hold Blizzard accountable to that? And this is probably the most egregious thing about the lawsuits, or the data in the lawsuits, is hearing that story, and that is awful. All the other stories, or all other abuse in a corporate environment, is abhorrent, but the loss of life is incredibly devastating. And I mean, I truly cannot imagine what kind of human being wakes up on a day, thinks about going into work, passes a woman in the hallway and says, "Hey Lisa, nice tits," and thinks that that's okay to say in the workplace. I have somebody who I work with who has a section of their name that rhymes with hell. And that has become a common joke sometimes in our morning groups, that we rephrase the name and have hell as part of it. And occasionally I see like a little twitch in the face when we do the joke on it, even though they seem to take it well. I've actually made a mental statement to myself that I will never partake in that. It'll never cross my lips anytime it's happening. And this is in full view of my female supervisor. I just think this person has a tiny little flinch at it, and maybe it isn't super funny, and I won't do it. It will never be typed by me. It will never be verbalized by me. And to think that I have this idea on that, and I feel that way about just a name, I can't imagine what goes through people's minds that they think they can get away with this in the workplace. And this is why we have some of the HR training we do now about, here's this video of a person sharing a joke about it, like a dumb blonde slut joke or something, and so hears it. Like, what would you do? This is why we have those videos. It's this right here. It's Riot. It's Ubisoft. And a coworker at a previous job who was a female coder said even in college she saw sexism among coding groups that, like, oh, you're just doing that well in your class because you're sleeping with your partner and you guys are like boyfriend. I mean, she experienced it. I've asked my girlfriend about it after hearing about this, and bro culture and gaming and coding is kind of bad, and I'm really, really sorry to see Blizzard getting embroiled in this. And you have higher hopes for your heroes sometimes, but they all come crashing down eventually. So I don't know what the future will hold for World of Warcraft and these actions that Blizzard are being accused of, but it's not great. And it really makes you think a little bit on it, and the continued support of the company. And you know what? When Activision is always painted as the bad guy of the two, that Blizzard was corrupted by Activision after the merger. Can we go back to 2007, 2008, and was this happening in Blizzard at the time? Or was this post-Activision maybe bringing in corporate douche bros? Like, we don't know, but there is a good chance that this may have been happening even in old Blizzard. What was considered likable Blizzard. So, what do you guys think? I'm really curious to hear. And are you now standing against Activision and Blizzard products? Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one.